All right, this is the shock that I bought off Amazon for a replacement on the S22. See if it's any good here. It did come with some form of bushings, but I plan to use the bushings off the stock shock. This spring is rated a little lower, but I'm going to go ahead and just try to run this shock as it is. I had a accident happen with the other shock, so this was a cheap alternative. So in this video I'm going to go ahead and install it and hopefully have some feedback on how it is. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and try to remove these old bushings. I'm going to go ahead and set this shock to the side. Old shock to the side. The replacement, I'm going to put it in the vise. So the inner bushing is wanting to get pushed through with it. So the shock comes with this little inner bushing, and we want to keep that in there and slide this one in. Like that. So I kept the inner bushing that came with the shock in there. Here are the caps, little rubber caps that go on the end of the bushing. You want to make sure your bushing's evenly set also. Now this shock, the original shock, has a skinnier base, so trimming will be necessary on the edges of the bushing. So I'm just going to get the bushings even by using another bushing. I tapped it in a little bit more. I am going to use a grinder wheel to just trim off a little bit of extra of the rubber. Because this shock is wider, you can use a hacksaw or a box knife or a razor blade. So now it's flush with the inner bushing. Just trimmed a little bit off of there. I had the vice grips on there to keep it from spinning. Probably not necessary. Now I'm going to do the exact thing on this side. Alright, now that the bushing is installed on one side, that side will be complete. I'm going to flip the shock over, get it clamped down in the vise. So I have the original S22 shock bushing here. This side did come out with one bushing on one side of it, but the inner bushing that came with the aftermarket shock is still in there. You gotta just kind of gently wiggle that in there so it doesn't push out the other bushing. The other rubber cap, we'll slip that on the other side. Now this aftermarket shock did come with some bushings. They're not the right size, but I am going to use one of them to tap through. I'm going to have to get this shock in here better. And you can see the thickness here is a little bit different than this shock. The aftermarket one is wider, and that's why you see me trimming some of the plastic off. The overall bushing is still the same. Okay, so now I have some rubber to trim off for the plastic bushing. And here I'm just getting it centered. And now I'm going to use the grinder again, and I'm just going to trim some of that off of there. I spun it around, and I'm going to do the other side. And now the shock is ready to install on the S22. So I'm going to get the wheel over here, or the S22 over here, and get it mounted in. So now the factory S22 bushings are in the aftermarket shock. All right, by putting the crowbar right here, just kind of holding that black part of the swing arm, that way I could tap the screw through on the suspension bolt, the top. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other side to the suspension bolt, and I'm gonna use some blue Loctite. It's the JB Weld version. I will put the link in the description for this shock. I'm gonna go ahead and get this bolt started. I'm gonna have to grab an Allen and move the camera. Spin this around, that way that's on top to be able to be adjustable. I'm gonna get this bolt back through there. And I'm gonna tap it back in. Now that can be easily accessible. Re-Loctite my bolt. and the bottom one is spinning. So I need to grab another Allen and hold that one. And now that shock is completely installed. So now I'm going to just take the wheel off the bench and get the suspension set up where I like it. But yeah, the link will be in the description for the shock. I hope this helps you out and leads you in the right direction. Please smash that subscribe button and that like button. Appreciate you.